I still haven't. So, I don't know, we'll squirt some of this stuff down in here. Yeah, that should be a little better. Nobody wants to hear that squeaking, I'm sure. That PB blaster stinks. Doesn't smell good like the powder from the briar. Well, hopefully everybody's having a great New Year's Day. Hey Gary, how you doing? Happy New Year's. Thought I'd get on and piddle around in the shop. I've been out here most of the day, but I was just watching a few videos and thought I'd start a live. Montana Piper, how's it going? I've been seeing quite a few of your videos on. That's an interesting rack for meerschaum bowls. I'd never seen anything like that. Just like the video says, this and that. I've been kind of jumping all over the place today. 62 degrees, nice. It's not quite that warm here in Indiana, but it's not horrible. It was worse a couple days ago, I think. I did a little reorganizing in the house and my office with the briar and stuff like that. So that created a little bit of mayhem. Found stuff like this little thin-walled Ranger that I hadn't completed. And I think that's the reason I didn't complete it, because I think the walls are too thin. Yeah, it's I'll get a better part of the measuring tape to measure with. Well, I don't know. Maybe it just looks thin. Let me look. But the shank is definitely kind of large for that small bowl, I think. That was back when I was doing 5/16 inch tenon, so I've had this one for a while. Yeah, a little bit thin. 200 thousandths. Yeah, right at 200 thousandths on the wall thickness, so that's pretty thin. Who knows, maybe I'll finish this pipe for a friend of mine that I grew up with. Spent half my life over at his house growing up. Sandra just found it on Etsy. Yeah, that seems like a pretty nice setup. Started drawing on some blocks, getting ready to make some wizards. Getting ready to throw those on the lathe at some point, maybe. That was kind of my initial thought, was I was going to do this today. And that hasn't happened. I've kind of got distracted doing other stuff. Here's a little Levant I decided to start working on. It's got some pretty nice grain in it. Unfortunately, it's got a couple little blemishes on the back side. Well, it looks like it's got a couple blemishes on that side. So this is probably going to end up being a sandblast instead of a smooth, which is what I was hoping for, because the grain's a little bit crazy here, but basically going up the pipe still, even though it swerves just a little bit. It's not straight grain, obviously, but yeah, that's some nice looking grain to it, I thought. So it's probably going to end up being a sandblast after all. But I'm spending some time with this one. This is really my first, I've done Levant in the past, but never been so picky about dimensions, proportions. My cheeks here, I've never tried to refine those that much before. So just getting a little deeper into it and trying to make one that actually is specifically a true, accurate proportions Levant. The stem I'm a little scared on. I've just been filing on it. I've filed the top side pretty close. I'm afraid to go too thin. Afraid I might hit my tenon that I have glued in there. Guess I could measure that too and see where we're at. See maybe how close we're getting there. Some of the guys I've seen, but they typically do it intentionally where the, I think it's the tenon starts to show. This is a Levant, Leela. It's a tobacco pipe, 325. That's off the overall, and I haven't sanded down the bottom side yet. So let's see, bring that down to here. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna be able to thin that up much more because from the looks of it, the top side's about 150 thousandths off a center. So 150 off the other side will leave 300 thousandths, and I put in a 1/4 inch tenon. So in case it comes past the little step on it, I don't want to cut into that. So that's what I'm mainly focused on at the moment, is filing that down. Cuppy yuppie. Cuppy yuppie umpkin. That's a mouthful, saying all that. So figured I'd just show some of the process of hand shaping a hand cut stem. You can see it at other pipe makers also. Jeff Allen Graysick, he has some videos up where he shows the process of hand cutting a mouthpiece. Let's see, shut the light down maybe. It's kind of bright for me. I don't know how it is for you guys. You can see I got a mess here over in this little workbench area. I have my pattern laid out for my little wizard pipe that I was sketching out earlier on those blocks. Yeah, it's just been this and that all day. I've already put another pipe in the house that I was working on earlier. It was an Emberling that I was working on, trying to get it ready for sandblasting. So I'm kind of undecided. I've only done maybe 7 to 8 stems hand cut, so I don't know if I should round it this way or whether I should rock the mouthpiece through the file instead and keep the file on level, or roughly level, same angle. Just a preference thing, I guess. I think the mouthpiece is going to be a little thicker up where your lips set on it, but back at the bite zone for the teeth, it will be to the 160, 165 thousandths probably. Just gotta take a few strokes, take a look at it, see how we're coming to make sure I'm getting it even. coming down the same on each side. I did draw a line down the side, try to give me a reference point to look at. First day of the year, figured I better get started off and get it going right. Plunder Shop, good evening, how you doing? Maybe if I turn this around. Oh, got it hung on the wall here. I need to remount that thing, I think. It's just a little bit awkward. Whoop, making a mess here. Let's see. There we go. A little light on the subject and not blind myself. Hopefully not blinding you guys. Doesn't look too bad from what I can see. Definitely a slow process, this hand cutting. And I haven't filed it out yet. I've not opened it up with the funnel yet, so. Trying to organize your workshop? Nice. I did a little bit of organizing today in the office in the house where I could store my briar a little more neatly. Here's what I'm working on, plunder. A little Levant shape. Got blue tape on it right now to kind of protect my stem while I'm filing. Whoop. Shaking it around all over the place. Yeah, I figured I actually did some of that last night, getting it organized in there. So I had a better setup for storing my briar going into the new year. I figured try to improve my organization for the 2026 year. Hopefully make me a little more productive. At least I'll know where to find everything a little quicker, hopefully. I think I've got 4 boxes of briar in there. I keep it in the house because I don't like it going through the humidity changes here in Indiana. I just soon keep it in air conditioning, keep it in a controlled environment, and that way it just acclimates and doesn't keep shifting around. The only thing I haven't done yet I want to start doing is I have done to maybe a half dozen blocks. I pulled them out and weighed them all and documented on there what they weighed back in November, I think. Sounds like the wife's pulling in the garage. I hear the garage door. Evening, David. How you doing? Happy New Year to everybody. Show you what I'm working on, Dave. Gonna be a Levant. Shape's pretty close. I think it's gonna end up being a sandblast because here towards the end I've had a few little imperfections show up there. One up here. Got one over on this side, one up there. So I've decided it's gonna probably be a blast. I was really hoping for a smooth because of the way the grain looked, but I think it's gonna have to get blasted. Thanks, Dave. I've spent quite a bit of time. This is probably my first Levant that's actually what I think is correct to specs as far as bowl height, the shank length, and all that. And I'm being more particular about my transition and my cheeks here, and I've just really tried to do a better job of refining the pipe. In the past, I made a couple that were somewhat like a Levant, but may not be textbook typical. They were a little out of the norm, I would say, which they were still nice looking pipes, but I just figured I'd make an attempt to see, because that's something I've heard a lot in the pipe community. People say, well, if you want to make pipes, you really need to start with billiards. And to me, a Levant's a billiard. I mean, I know there's differences, but in general. And this one, I think, is leaning more towards the Danish style because I'm trying to give it a lot more flowing lines. The Levants I've made in the past are more Italian in style because the way the cheeks come in, they're more gradual coming into the cheeks. They're not as sharp. And my side walls on my other ones have always been straight, going down the front, the back, and the sides. Everything was turned on the lathe, so they were perfectly straight down instead of being more of an egg shape like this is. So I think this really lends more towards the Danish style of pipe making, and that's what I was hoping to come up with. I've already put in probably an hour and a half on this stem at least. Just trying to hand cut it down. We're getting there. Yo, first timer here. What are the best woods to work with? The best woods to work with when making briar pipes is briar that comes from the heath tree. It's one of the most heat resistant woods available. Um, some people use olive wood. There are some other options out there, but briar's my wood of choice. And could you do a partial sandblast if the pits are all in the area of base? I'll probably end up doing a blast with a smooth rim, I think, is probably going to end up how it plays out, because I've got a little flaw here, a little flaw up towards the top of the bowl, the flaw down here at the bottom, maybe a couple right here, little sand pits that are showing up, or that could just be my filings, some of this. If it didn't have that one up on top, you might be able to get away with doing more towards the base. But I think it's probably just going to end up being the whole thing. I think it's hopefully the blast will accentuate the grain also. Hopefully it'll. I don't really see ring grain in this. I mean, it should be there, but it's just not showing itself. I guess when we blast, we'll see if we end up with all the long fibers coming and showing up, or whether maybe the ring might show up in the process of blast. It'll be interesting to see how it unfolds for sure. Yeah, I was really happy with the grain. But that's the life of a pipe maker, it seems like. You think everything's going great, and then all of a sudden a little sand pit Mother Nature threw in there decides to show its ugly head. But that's all right. I think it'll still make a beautiful looking pipe. That's something I didn't understand in my 101 class with Jeff Allen Grasick in Chicago. Is he told everybody, he said, being a pipe maker is being a troubleshooter. I thought, what? I thought, how in the world does that? That didn't make a whole lot of sense at the time. But now, after making over 100 pipes, very easy to see how that's the case. I mean, luckily, there's been others that have figured out this problem before. So the answer to this problem's kind of already written. You end up with little sand pits, it's a sandblast. That way it gets rid of those and doesn't show them. You try to put that out as a smooth, and you put the stain on it, and those things would probably go off like a police lights in the rear view mirror. So some problems you don't have to solve for yourself. Somebody else has already solved them, but I have ran into several problems that I had to figure out after working on something, and all of a sudden something showed up, or I did something wrong, which is possible. But as long as you have a way to fix it. I was working on an Emberling. I had it shaped out to be a squash tomato. It's still a squash tomato, it's just a little more squash than it was. I drilled the chamber. I wish I had it out here. And inside the bowl was a flaw about 1/4 of an inch down. So that was an easy fix too. That was just, okay, we're taking 1/4 inch more off the top because we're not going to leave a flaw in a tobacco chamber. This is kind of a blue and black Cumberland. Limited edition SEM ebonite. I don't know how well that's showing up. Let's see, we'll try to spin this around and get a little light on it. Hopefully that shows up, that's blue and black. Blue is one of my favorite colors. So anytime I see some stem material that has a blue in it, or it just grabs my attention, and here I am. Hopefully some other people will like it too when I get done with it. I think this one probably won't be available until Chicago is kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. Probably have it done before then, but we're gonna keep it around just to look at it and hopefully take it to Muletown. Alright, now we'll try to let's see, I guess we'll clean up that a little bit more. Maybe go to a finer file. trying to even it up right here at the button at the moment. Anybody do anything exciting over New Year's? We kind of did the old person thing and just stayed in. But part of that's justified. The wife wasn't feeling too great, but we normally don't go out and get involved in all that mess with the crowds. But the daughter even stayed home with us. Me and the daughter ended up playing Fortnite. Bringing in the new year, playing Fortnite. Forged a chef knife. Awesome. Knives and pipes, they seem to be close related when it comes to craftsmen making them. I know they're not even in the same realm of utensils we use, but seems like some pipe makers have tried making knives. They're actually not tried, but actually made knives, and then they've made pipes, and I've seen other vice versa. I think Chris Morgan made pipes. I've heard him talk about having all the equipment for making knives. All right, we'll quit working on the button at the moment and work on the saddle transition a little bit. Get the calipers on that. Let's see what our thickness is. Hey, Chris, Brutal, how's it going? I think I may knock down the meat of that just a little bit more right in this area here. I was up at Chicago last year and was fortunate enough to talk with Nana Everson. She's very nice, and asked her if she could give me any tips for a fairly new pipe maker, and told her I realized we didn't have a bunch of time to talk, but if she had any little tidbits of information that might prove to be helpful. And she told me light. And at first I didn't get what she was saying, and I had showed her a picture that I took, luckily, and the reflection off of the pipe, when it came up, you could see in one of my pipes it jogged over a little bit on the bowl, whereas another one came up, made the corner a nice straight line. And she pointed that out, and she said, you need to use the light. She said, when you see a reflection and these lines, that helps you locate problems with the pipe that you may not just see in the shaded area. So I thought that was very nice of her to be willing to take the time to talk to me and give me some feedback like that. But that's probably true in a lot of things, not just pipes, but talking about knife making. I mean, you could probably see the reflection and the shine in a blade. I guess that just the difference of years of somebody's doing something and learning compared to somebody that's new in any field, probably. Photography would probably teach you that, and that's kind of silly because I actually did photography in high school. You would have thought that would have been ingrained, but evidently I didn't either take it serious enough or something. The simplest device is always the best. Yep, that's for sure. No problem, Chris. Hopefully it comes in useful. It has for me. That's something that Alex Flowrob mentioned in the seminar I went to up there, how Danish pipe makers especially are so willing to share the information on to help you become better. Because the reality of it is, just because we have the information doesn't mean we'll actually be able to apply it. Let's see. Keep going back and forth, just trying to refine it a little bit more. And something else, I don't know if you've got into hand cutting stems yet, Chris. If you can draw a line down the side of your stem when you're cutting for the center, then you can use that line as a reference point to make sure you stay 180 degrees out when you're shaping. Obviously you got to be on center, but I mean, doesn't show up very well probably in the light, but that gives you an idea where your draft hole is inside the stem that you're working on. And obviously it's humped up in the middle, so even though you see the line on the side, you can get close to the line here. You just don't want to be flat because then you'd sand right through your draft hole. We're getting there. Looks like I've taken a little much off the shoulder there, though. We'll see how it turns out. Got a ways to go before completion, so we'll try to get it all evened up. Right now it's a little wider because the mouthpiece is actually wider. Broke several stems just recently. Yeah. Chris Harriet has been a great help for me. Oh, that's cool. Glad to hear Chris is helping you out. Chris seems like a very nice guy. I met him in Chicago when he was up last time. I've watched him on YouTube. He's really cranking some pipes out. I know he's got to supply them to some of the brick and mortars over there, I think. Girls are getting a little fired up. Must be an animal out there up on the hill. They're out there barking and carrying on, running around, so it must be something out there to get them worked up. Hear the oldest one carrying on, getting upset with the younger one. We'll take the tape off and see how close we're getting. Still got a ways to go. But we've made some progress. Still kind of rough looking. These little files work pretty nice for minor adjustments, Chris. Straightening up lines. They're a pretty inexpensive set too. They're not high dollar or anything. I may have paid 10 or 15 bucks for the set of like 6 of them. Probably gonna do a little bit of sandblast tomorrow. I got 3 pipes ready for sandblasting, so probably do that tomorrow. I have a good friend that'll let me come over and use his blast setup, so go and do that tomorrow. Get those 3 a little farther along. The bite zone is good. The still working on the final shape up here close to the transition point. The button's a little too big at the moment. I took it down some earlier to make it easier to work on. But we're getting there. Still got to be slotted. Haven't done that yet. But that's all right. We'll get there. These are handy too, Chris. How did the other pipe come out? The one you were drilling yesterday. I lost focus. That was going to be a Shire series, but it is not now. It's probably going to be an Emberling instead. Not sure about a stem yet for it. I've been looking around the shop here. I found a couple potential stems for it. This one's huge. But that was the one I think I was drilling yesterday. Or maybe I was drilling, no, I wasn't drilling that one. I was drilling the other Emberling that's in the house. It's a squat tomato. But, yeah, that's a big monster. That thing's like 2 1/4 inches tall. It's like 2 inches across. That dude's big. But that one's going to end up being an Emberling, I think. It just ain't going to make it. It's not going to meet my criteria for being a Grunewald pipe. Not one of the high ends. It's just not quite there. The Emberlings are usually a lot quicker to make. So typically they're not as dialed in to the specifics, trying to get specifics nailed down like this pipe here. This thing is taking some time to get everything just right. Now I've got another Emberling in there that's kind of Levant. It might even be a little bit too long for a Levant in the shank, but it's an Emberling, and it's more of a Italian styling as far as the shaping of it. Should have brought that one out here with me. But when I came out here, I wasn't really planning on doing a live either, so. I could run in and get those, I guess. It'd just take me a couple minutes to go get them if you want to wait. I could show you the squat tomato that I was drilling yesterday and how it turned out. And it's just rough shape because it's going to get sandblasted. But then I could show you a finished. I mentioned earlier that I've done some pipes that are kind of Levant-ish, but not really to spec a Levant. And that would definitely be one I would say is kind of along those lines. It doesn't have a hand cut stem. It's got an acrylic pre-made stem, and it's got a something that's unusual for, definitely not seen on a Levant. It's a military mount. Give me just 1 second. Sure as I set that there, that'll end up falling off. We'll turn it around so the stem shows a little better while I'm gone. I'll be right back. Guess it's a good thing I ran inside. Oh, need more cushion in the pad of that chair. By going inside, I found out that supper's ready. So here's we'll compare length here. So the length is real close to being a Levant length on this pipe. Oh, but this is more Italian in design. It's got the straighter walls on it. You can see the cheeks are a lot tighter on this pipe right in here. You can see that it's more rounded, more egg-shaped. This one's just a little bit bigger, but it's more of an egg, or instead of being straight. So this is more what I would call an Italian styled Levant. But what would make it definitely not a Levant is it does not have a saddle stem. Levants typically have saddle stems. It does kind of, but it's also got the extra piece for the military mount. But this is an Emberling that I have that'll be available shortly in the next week or two. And so that kind of gives you an idea between more of an Italian styling and a Danish style. At least that's what I think. Maybe another pipe maker might tell you otherwise. I've noticed a lot of different pipe makers call different shapes different things for some reason. Yep, the wife just texted, said food's ready. This is the one I was drilling yesterday that you'd asked about, Yusuf. It's kind of a squash tomato. It's actually drilled 90 degrees. This goes back in the at an angle like this, so it doesn't go straight down that way. So the drilling is more like a straight pipe, but it'll be canted. I'll heat the mouthpiece up and bend it. And yeah, I think you were watching me yesterday doing the counter bore here for the straight tenon. That's the first one of those that I've done with this type of mouthpiece. This is going to be an Emberling. It's just going to have a different mouthpiece than most of my Emberlings have. It's kind of similar design with the ring here, but not sure if this is acrylic. I think it is. And then on the back side, take this back out so you can see it better. I did kind of the teardrop shank, and I carried the line off the tip of the shank down into the bottom of the bowl and ended it about here. It's kind of hard to tell that in the picture. There it goes. Now it shows up. You can see kind of where it ends. Yeah, it's definitely squashed. It did have another 1/4 inch on the height yesterday, but there was a flaw just above this, and I just topped the whole thing down a 1/4 inch to get rid of the flaw in the chamber. It's a little bit longer than most of my Emberlings also, with this type of stem and this stretched out squash tomato. This is running right at 6.5 inches long. So that's definitely a little bigger and longer pipe than most of my Emberlings. Now, that little Levant that I showed you, or Levant-ish style pipe, it's a longer one too. It's coming in at 6 inches. So that's a little longer than most of my Emberlings. Emberlings are probably closer to the 5 mark. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys stopping by and hanging out and seeing what I'm up to. But like I say, the wife just texted, said food's ready, and that's what I thought I smelled when I was in there. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to kick the camera. But once I get done eating supper, I'll probably come out and continue to work on that stem a little more. It still needs refined some more, but it's come a long way today. Once again, I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching. Flaw in the chamber, will that cause an issue down the road? Oh, I believe that's going to cause you a burnout situation. If it's in there, because it's going to have those fresh edges on it with the fire burning right up against it. It's kind of like, in my mind, it's kind of like kindling. Kindling's all these thin slivers. Well, if you have that nice surface, there's no one point that the flame's really going to heat up more than the rest. It's going to kind of heat the whole area. Whereas if you have a crack in there, or a flaw that creates a sharp edge, that edge is kind of like kindling sticking out there, and the fire is going to hit that and start to burn it back, is I believe what happens. So yeah, don't want to leave a flaw in there. It's possible, I've heard people be concerned with bowl coatings because they think pipe makers are hiding flaws. I suppose that's possible. That's not what I use my bowl coatings for. I think the bowl coating gives it a much cleaner look, a much more finished look than this. But I mean, worst case scenario, if you really didn't want that, most of the bowl coatings you could wipe out with water. It's just some activated charcoal and some sort of carrier that's going to help it stick to the walls, but it's really going to give you a lot of protection. And I think a lot of pipe makers do this also because of trying to safeguard against people who like to use torches, although that's not going to, it may slow the effect, but that's not going to protect your pipe enough from a torch. A torch is going to burn up your briar. You need to be using soft flames on there. But I strictly use them because I think it looks nicer. I mean, my Emberlings are my more affordable series. Originally I was making the Shire series, which were my higher end pipes, and I wanted them to look as nice as possible. And this just kind of carried over into this, even though I spend a lot less time making these so I can make them affordably. Because I don't use hand-cut stems, I use the pre-made acrylic stems. I do go in and work on the internals and open them up so they breathe like a handmade stem, but I don't spend all this time you've just seen sitting here filing and sanding and everything that I'm going to have to do to that Cumberland stem. That's going to be 3 to 4 hours of work just getting that hand cut stem. So that saves a bunch of time being able to use this type of stem. So yeah, stick with soft flames. I wouldn't concern yourself with bowl coatings. If you do have a pipe that does have a burnout or starting to get a burnout, you might consider putting a bowl coating in it to cover it up and at least slow the process down. Because it's definitely gonna give you a little bit of insulation factor there. Just got back from my walk. Oh, nice. Good to see you're out walking, Gary. Hopefully that's a sign that the back's doing better. All right, guys. Well, like I was saying, the wife says supper's ready, so you know how the wives are. You don't want to keep them waiting. I appreciate everybody stopping in, and I appreciate everybody's business throughout 25, and I hope to see you this year, 26, at a pipe show. Come up and say hi, introduce yourself, and make me slow down for a minute, because pipe shows are a whirlwind and fun activity. So get my attention, slow me down for a minute. I don't mind at all. I want to meet you guys if you're at a show. So you guys take care and have a blessed week. Pipe on.